This week on the Shared Security Podcast, buckle up as we discuss a tale of patchwork paranoia and government compromise. Microsoft's bot SharePoint patch has opened the door to mass exploitation by ransomware gangs and even Chinese state-sponsored hackers. But that's not all. In a recent development, multiple U.S. agencies, including the Department of Homeland Security and Health and Human Services, have confirmed they were compromised by a widespread cyber espionage campaign. Are these just two separate stories, or do they signal something more disturbing? An erosion of trust in our patching systems and early warning programs? Or is it just SharePoint, which used to be one of my favorite apps to hack back in the day? Well, joining me to discuss the fun of hacking SharePoint is my co-host, Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know.
Where to even begin? Right?
I'm not sure. So we'll go with yes.
Just yes to all of that. That's right.
And this one was an interesting one.
Isn't it?
So, two people don't know. In my understanding, this is only a vulnerability in the on-prem version of SharePoint. This was not a vulnerability in the Office 365, Azure, whatever.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, of course, if you take an on-prem version of SharePoint and install it to an Azure host, that doesn't make it.
Sure, and there were.
Right. Because I've actually talked to people who are like, oh, no, I know how to protect these apps. I'll just move them to the cloud. It's like, oh, we're going to use the 360. No, I'll install it on a machine in the cloud. No, that doesn't change anything. So my understanding is it's just the on-prem version of SharePoint that was vulnerable to this. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple of things that are interesting. But the first part that I think is interesting is the idea that the vulnerability was found, they discussed it, they released a patch, and that patch wasn't sufficient.
Correct.
And I'm just going to say that every company I've worked with that has been in this position or developer out there that has been in this, you can feel better now to know that Microsoft also doesn't understand how to evaluate a vulnerability well. Yeah. Not across the board, right? This is not a blanket statement, but I deal with this all the time where people will report something. We'll say, hey, during the pen test, we found this thing and you have this issue and here is how we recommend that you fix it. And then the customer fixes exactly the problem we outlined, not the underlying issue. And I don't, what I mean by that is like we'll say to people all the time, like, hey, stupid example because it's low-hanging fruit, but it's an easy, stupid example. Here are the 6 libraries we found in your application that you've not updated in 30 years, right? And then they go fix, and we say, look, this is, while these 6 are a problem, the issue here isn't these 6. The issue here is that you're not maintaining the libraries you make use of in your application, whatever. You need to go and evaluate all of them, and they'll fix those 6. And then they'll ask us to retest. And it's like that you've got, like, not only did you just fix the 6 we told you about, but you now have 7 other ones that are out of date because patches have come out, and right, like it's like it's an underlying problem, or the stereotypical tick or 1 equals 1, and so they block 1 equals 1, not
actually fixing it. Yeah,
I'm actually playing with that in an app right now, where if I put a single quote in, I get a 500 error. If I put or 1 equals 1, I get blocked by some WASP like function.
Yes.
But if I put 1 is not equal to 2, 1 is less than 2, I get the 500 error again. Right. And so this is literally a test I'm working on today. So, and it's like, guys, obviously somebody told you or 1 equals 1 is bad and you didn't understand what it meant and you went on. And that's what it appears happened here, is that Microsoft fixed exactly the problem and that's interesting to me. The thing that is the scariest part of this is the idea that the MAPP or MAAP.
Yeah, that's the Microsoft Active Protections Program.
Yeah, it's 2 Ps, not 2 As. That there appears to have been a leak from it.
Yeah, and so for our audience that doesn't know what that is, it's essentially like they give a preview to select, I guess, customers. I mean, I
No,
don't
not
know who's in
customers.
this, right? Isn't it like a
It's organizations. My understanding is it can be more
organizations?
than that, but the
Yeah,
vast majority of it is organizations that provide protection software, like endpoint protection, right?
yeah, like
Wow.
a Sentinel One or
Right.
somebody. Yeah, like
So
that. Yeah,
it's the customers of Microsoft at some level, but they're also
yeah,
they are providers of protections to other people. If the Microsoft gives them the information in advance, and my understanding is it serves two purposes. One, it allows those protection tools to be prepared to how to protect against something that is, if this hadn't leaked out, however it leaked out, you know as well as I do that the minute a patch comes out, attackers reverse it and they figure out
of
exploits
course.
against that, right? So it provides the protection tools a way to be ready for that when it comes out. That's the first thing. The second thing, and my understanding is this actually worked here, is that those companies provide feedback back to Microsoft saying, hey, we evaluated your patch and it looks good, doesn't look good, here's the problem, here's this. And so it's a bi-directional, right?
Yes. Yep.
Which is good. But in this case, maybe.
Yeah, because they already had disclosed the vulnerabilities, and then a day before, like exploitation had already started. So it was like, okay, wait a minute, how did that happen? Because you would have to have enough information about the patch and the vulnerability to actually create a working exploit in advance of Microsoft actually disclosing the vulnerability. So definitely a leak. And then they fixed it. They fixed the patch, and then they said, no, we're not going to tell MAPP
Right.
about it.
And that's,
I wonder
well,
why.
and that, like I read one of the articles you sent. I did get a kick out of the one where like, well, it might not have been MAPP because, so and so was
Yeah.
able to use, ChatGPT or
Right.
something to reproduce this. And it's like, okay, that's interesting. I'm going to go with Occam's razor.
Fair.
Like is it possible that some attacker out there is like, hey, I heard that Pwn because that's the only way
That's where it started.
this would be worthwhile to Scott's is, Pwn announced, hey, we found this, they won, we haven't gotten the details out because it's under the embargo, whatever. And let me say to Claude, hey, this, and if that is really what happened.
That's some speculation.
It is.
Yeah, the AI could have been involved. I know.
If that's what really happened to make this, that it wasn't a leak, that's pretty impressive. But I'm going to lean toward believing that somebody who had the details, whether it was within MAPP or not in MAPP, because let's be blunt, right? This patch was not done by two dudes at Microsoft that didn't talk to anybody else, right? This was a very large project. Relatively large effort to fix this, to test it, to troubleshoot it. There were lots of people involved.
Yeah.
And then you open up even further and you send it out to an organization, a group of organizations like MAPP, where, right, we already know that attackers are getting jobs at places. We already know that people are doing this. I'm going to lean toward believing that somebody at Microsoft, somebody at MAPP, somebody at ZDI, somebody at whatever, had the details, done it. Or, okay, so I am a member of MAPP. I could be compromised as well. I don't have to have leaked it. Somebody can compromise my machines. And if you don't think that the people who are part of MAPP are a target for nation state and black hat hackers,
100%.
right?
Oh,
so that I'm not going to believe until somebody shows me proof. I'm going to believe that this leaked somehow. And I'm going to lean toward believing that it was either an active bribe, right? We've talked about this before, that you don't have to guess my password. You just have to hand me a big enough check for me to give you the data. And
100%.
Right. Or somebody's endpoint got compromised and the attacker has been in the. Those are my predictions. But, you know, I'm
Yeah,
not using can
I agree.
enable to sniff the traffic.
That'll be another
Yeah.
podcast episode. But yeah, when I of course saw this headline and it said SharePoint, I instantly giggled, right? Because you and I mean, we have a long history. I mean, SharePoint has a long history of being hacked, and it used to be kind of the joke in the pen tester community for a long time. I mean, this of course is a long time ago, but whenever you or I or anybody else would encounter SharePoint on like an internal pen test, we would be like very happy about that
It's fun. I,
because
you
yeah,
know,
true.
we've talked about this many times, right? Tools like SharePoint are by their
Yeah.
nature collectors of sensitive data. And as such,
Of course.
they become interesting.
Yeah.
Very true.
And yeah, and SharePoint just was, and it probably still is. I don't think it's changed much, but the permissions system is very complicated. It's very easy to mess up permissions. So once you have regular user access, you could typically start accessing things that you're not supposed to because somebody made a hierarchical screw up in their permissions. And yeah,
Well, and
all kinds
the
of fun.
permissions on files are set by the end user quite often, and right,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Oh, it's
yeah, it is not an easy thing.
yeah.
And you know, we can pick
Yeah.
on SharePoint, we can pick on, you know, all the wikis and internal portals and everything else that we found.
Sure.
Microsoft just built one that bluntly, due to its success, becomes an interesting target for people like us. And this
Yeah.
is an example of where that happens. So yeah, no, this was a good one.
Yes.
I am really hoping that we'll get real data out of it. You know, as because you know Microsoft's evaluating this. You know Microsoft's
Oh,
looking to
absolutely.
see what happened, and what I'm hoping is that we'll be able to get some type of feedback later as to what happened.
Yeah. And to Microsoft's credit, I mean, they do an amazing job of like patching and releasing information and patches. Like, it's the best I've ever seen it.
They are doing.
Especially the last couple of years.
We used to laugh all the
Like-
time at Microsoft. And
Oh,
they are leading the pack in many ways
Yeah.
nowadays for security.
Completely agree. Agree. They've done a full 360 because they used to be pretty bad. But yeah, it's great to see them, you know, doing this, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, SharePoint will continue to be a target no matter what, especially when government agencies are using it. So
the thing that I want to see
You know.
is I want to see what happens for the next patch that's released. If MAPP is notified,
Yeah.
or if this is, you know, because like the one time of Microsoft saying we're going to give MAPP this data, that is when MAPP's at fault. To me, that is a definite sign. It's a possible sign that MAPP was compromised. It's a definite sign that Microsoft was evaluating where the data went, and it was an easy, okay, we'll put a embargo on this for a minute, right? But if the next patch that comes out that's sensitive, Microsoft doesn't communicate that to MAPP again, then that's a sign to me that they at least very strongly believe that's where it leaked. The first one being held back, I'm like, meh, I could see that. You know what? Let's not talk to anybody yet. Let's get this out here and then go from there. But yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know we've got Black Hats and Defcon next week. I know you won't be there.
You will, right?
Actually, this episode will be released on Monday, so I will already be in Vegas. Yep, I'll be there all week. And yeah, if hopefully I get to see some of our listeners. If you do find me at the conference, I will have shared security stickers. So get some stickers if you do see me. Say hi. But yeah, I'll be there all week. So it'll be a long week of Vegas.
Yes. I don't
It always
envy
is.
you at all.
I always try to count down the hours as soon as I get there. I just every time, man, I'm like, oh, here I am again. Vegas is just a draining city. It's just I don't know. The older I get, the less I want to go there.
Now, getting older is a good option because the alternative is not so fun.
True. Very true. All right. Well, Well, thanks all for listening, and until next time, stay safe, stay secure, and stay private. Thank you for watching or listening this episode. Be sure to subscribe wherever you like to get your podcasts. Visit sharedsecurity.net for merch, previous episodes, and more. If you'd like to help support the podcast, join our Patreon to get ad-free episodes and many more exclusive supporter-only benefits. Visit sharedsecurity.net/supporter for more details.